The Legacy Experience has been brought to you in part by Sage, Cortland, Islander Precision Fly Reels, Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line.
Gotta be fast on the pickup. Large arbor. Absolutely key. What are you doing? He doesn't even know he's hooked. Look at the size of this guy. Whoa, yeah. Oh, he's ticked off. He's so mad. Aren't you? Oh, yeah. I know why you're mad. Because those skullheads, whether you skip fly and bucktail them, or dead drift them, wind drift them, they get down to the zone. I'm not getting in your way with that handle. That fish, I swear it hit it 6 times before it committed to it. These are big northerns here. Today we're going to be talking all about fishing skullheads. They're a fly pattern that's been used and really developed for the kootenays and bringing it to ocean environments. And I wanted to do a show today for people that may not fly cast but want to experience the battle privilege of one of these big coho on fly rods and fly equipment. So we're going to cover how to skip fly these, how to bucktail them, and also how to fish them with the retrieve, and also without having to do the cast, but all the benefits of feeling the hookup on these incredible fish. And this year we're fishing in August up here, and there's not as many fish around, so you really have to be bang on your techniques. What a beautiful fish. And that fish took it right on the turn. And we've started early morning, about 8:30, not really early from fishing standards, but we're just fishing at about 3.8 to 4.1 knots, kind of miles an hour, speed over ground, so a good little pace. And we've got our whole fly line out. This is a Cortland 325 grain. And just these skullheads have the ability to get down to a depth that's just not like a bucktail that's closer to the surface or the skip fly that's on the surface. We'll show you one of the neatest new techniques for fly fishing for salmon. And this will work equally well on Chinooks as well. You know I'm gonna let you go, right? Look at the size of you, buds. Wow, look at the size of you. Look how big and beautiful silver those fish are. nice shot. Oh, here we go. Big northerns, big sea lice on his tail. Wowee, you are magnificent. Ooh, seal mark on you, or net mark. All right. You know, one of the biggest refinements in sport fishing has been how we carry our gear. And for me, traveling on planes and road trips we go on, it's absolutely essential that I've got everything organized. And maybe I could show you a few of the things I use today that help me to stay organized for travel, for different types of fishing, and especially for fly fishing. This is my one fly fishing boat bag. I have everything, all of the leader materials that I can use, all my Indiana blades, clevises, throat pumps, files, nail knot tires, big on any type of my vials for some extra assorted flies. I carry all of my saltwater patterns, just like this, double-sided. I carry all my bucktails, skullheads, skip flies. You can see they're all ready to go. I have all my steelhead flies. Yeah, it's messy, but it gets the job done. Got dry flies for river fishing. Got an assortment of lake flies that are ready to go. It's amazing how much you can carry in these bags. Big stones for fishing rivers, for big trout. So as you can see, it really allows you to carry a lot of gear. Assorted chronomid, special packaging. I've got all my different leaders that I carry in here. I've got pliers. I've got my indicators all set up. The more I open this up, the more you really see you can carry all of our different tips for river fishing, spay fishing, Scandi heads. I can bring a reel with me, my fly reels, an extra. So as you can see, these boat bags and their design absolutely help me big time in traveling to different destinations, whether we're in the Great Bear Rainforest, packing these on a plane, or on a steelhead river in British Columbia. Incredible products, they do a great job. I'm just getting the boat up to speed now, anywhere between 3.5 and 4.5 in that zone. Play around. These Skullheads with the Indiana blades we'll talk about are a great multi-species technique. This will work on a lot of different species, but it's deadly on salmon. It's on a Cortland 325 grain, 24-foot head, and I've just got a straight piece of, you can put 20-pound or 30-pound Suffix Invisalign fluorocarbon so the Indiana blade doesn't cut. The mono has a tendency of wearing a bit too fast. So I want to find my tack. I'm staying tight in a kelp, knowing obviously the contours of the bottom to make sure. You want to be close, but it comes with a danger as well. You want to pre-search your water before you do this. So I've got a nice kelp bed coming up on my right-hand side. I got my speed is just about perfect. Now, I want to make sure that Indiana blade is spinning, because there's times where it won't. So there we go. The blade is spinning. All I'm going to do is back off the reel, hold onto the line like that. Just about there. And a nice drag set. And that's your whole day. That's the whole game. It's putting a little bit of action into it, or be as lazy as you want. Just hold it straight. The best hook sets are when you're pointing it back at the water. If it's up here, or, you know, you just don't get the same, you can't pin that hook into the fish as well. So that's it. And you keep your speed up and you're tacking along kelp beds here. The absolute key thing, and it really does make a difference, make sure when you're traveling, presenting those skullhead patterns, that you're going in the direction of the current and tide flow. And the easiest way to determine that is take a look at the kelp, and the leaves on the kelp must be going in the direction you are. You want that bait to flow naturally with the kelp. Just look at the direction of the leaves and present that skullhead pattern in that same direction. Oh my. Oh man, somebody loves me. Holy. That is a frighteningly good technique. I mean, it's alarming how well it works. Going against the wind. Come on, baby. You cannot have a large enough arbor on these fish. This fish is 17, maybe more. Just pitch that drag a little more. I want those hooks to bury. I had just done a beautiful tack and a real fast turn back, and every time that line swings and it's on a very tight U, when it does that and it picks up the skullhead pattern in the Indiana blade, it is just drives these fish nuts, and every time. Holy. Hello. No, I don't have this fish under control, but that's the way I want it. Last thing you want is to be in control with a game fish. This is spectacular, man. I hope you get a chance to see this fish because it is an absolute beauty. Oh. Once in your life to see a fish do that. That was something else, man. That's twice this morning. Exact same quick turn of the boat. The arc of the line comes around super fast. Oh my goodness, what the heck? Look at the size of that bad boy. Oh. You see what's going on there? His buddy is swimming with him. That's a toad coho, that is. Man. Look at the size of that. 8-weight fly rods. I'll tell you what. Might not be the only way to catch these fish, but it's one of the most rewarding. As soon as we land this fish, we'll show you all the techniques we're using to make these Skullheads Indiana blades for monster northerns happen. I'm gonna try it one more time. Oh yeah. Well, these are just about near record-sized fish here. See the depth of that thing? Whew. question remains, will I have time to land this before we hit? Guess we're just gonna have to find out. Well, I got you, buddy. Hey, there's a reason why we saltwater fly fish, because those once in a lifetime big monster wild fish that come up to these wild rivers. Now the two skullhead fly patterns that we're using today, we're using the black and white. And you can see this is all the silver with the red throat. And also this one, just they change up the colors of the flash tail and tinsel. But with the tandem hook setups and barbless in with lead heads, brass heads, you can see they've got the mylar eyes or the painted on eyes, depending on which manufacturer you buy from. I highly recommend buying the skull heads and learning how to tie these, because you're going to save a pile of money, and these fish shred these flies. Here's the exact rig that we use today. Some of my biggest fish over the last 20 years have come on black over white. Bit of silver with a red throat. Now here is how the Indiana blade setup go. We've got on anywhere from 20, this is 20-pound Suffix Invisalign fluorocarbon, and that's how it's rigged. Just the beads just like that. You can see, just to make sure that that Indiana blade just goes above the skull head. And from there, you can see our leader goes straight to our loop-to-loop connection on our fly line. The gear we're using is an Islander LX 3.8. You could easily, for this, go up to the LX 4.0, just so you've got a much quicker pickup, because that's a real factor on keeping up with these fish. They're lightning fast. The line, 325 grain. It's a Cortland 325 grain. And so you've got a good amount of backing on there. And that's 30-pound Cortland backing. Not the most sophisticated way to tie fly rods, but it sure keeps them undamaged while you're heading out on the water. Once we get up to our tack speed right here, which is about I'm going to say 3.7 to 4.1, in that range, miles per hour. We just want to make sure we get our Indiana blade spinning. You can see right on the surface there. And once it's spinning, if you want to be really courageous, you can just let it out like this. Now, if a fish hits at that point, you're in trouble, but you can let your line out that way. The safer way is to have your drag and just feed out what you want. If that fish, at least you can set the hook on them. Now you're gonna see we're gonna put out, you can see how tight we're fishing to the kelp. And we're gonna put out about the full 90 or 100 feet of the fly line. We've got it out, that's it. Just get enough drag so you can give that some movement without your drag flying out. But I like to hold it back so when that fish will set the hook itself, and then all you got to do is hold on. I think you might have a Chinook here. Right tight to the kelp. Just give me a second to get control of this guy. God, you got a good fish there. Wow. northerns in there. Come on, baby, come on. Get out of there. This is a good fish. Can you see the other one's boiling in there? The cohos school together, so when one starts, you know, moving around, slashing bait, the other ones do as well. Well, you got a big, healthy northern here. All right. We've been at the Great Bear Rainforest, and all I can say is, what a species. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week for another edition of the Legacy Experience.
The Legacy Experience has been brought to you in part by Sage, Cortland, Islander Precision Fly Reels, Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line.